As we are moving on to a new presidency, allow me to briefly highlight the main outcomes of the Council's work over the past year and to mention some of the challenges that remain. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council's work during 2009 should be viewed in the context of the severe global crises, food, energy, financial and economic, that the Millennium Development Goals have been slowed down and that the adverse impacts could be long-lasting. The Council endeavoured to respond appropriately and effectively to the challenges of the crisis. The special high-level meeting of ECOSOC with the Bretton Woods institutions, the World Trade Organization and UNCTAD, held last April, brought together the concerned international parties and offered a first opportunity to have an inclusive exchange of views on the global financial and economic crisis. It highlighted the need to address the crisis in a coherent and coordinated manner, and the urgency to deal with its human impact in order to prevent the crisis from becoming a large-scale human tragedy. The summary record of the discussions was used in the preparation of the draft outcome document of the International Conference on the World Economic and Financial Crisis and its Impact on Development, held in New York in June. In recognition of the coordinating role of the Council, the International Conference entrusted several mandates, including the promotion and enhancement of a coordinated response of the United Nations development system to the crisis, the strengthening of the collaboration and cooperation between the United Nations and the Bretton Woods institutions, and the possible establishment of an ad hoc panel of experts on the world economic and financial crisis and its impact on development to the Council. As mandated by Decision 2009/258, I presented on 15th December 2009, during the Council's resumed substantive session, an oral summary on the follow-up, given up to paragraph 56 of the outcome of the Conference on the World Economic and Financial Crisis and its Impact on Development. This oral report has, in the meantime, also been issued as an official document and is contained in document E/2009/119. As indicated in December, while further consultations are certainly needed on some of the mandates entrusted to the Economic and Social Council, I believe we have managed to lay the groundwork for their full implementation. Other mandates, such as the one on a strengthened and more effective intergovernmental inclusive process to carry out the financing for development follow-up, have been duly fulfilled. The General Assembly thus recently endorsed the recommendations submitted by ECOSOC in this regard. The challenge now lies in implementing these recommendations fully and effectively, and in ensuring that the financing for development follow-up is given due attention and consideration. The organization of the special high-level meeting of ECOSOC with the Bretton Woods institutions, the WTO and UNCTAD constitutes an important first opportunity in this regard. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it can be said that in 2009, the annual ministerial review gave major political impetus to the agenda of global public health. It assisted in placing the issue of health at the center of the development agenda and galvanized political attention for the implementation of health-related development goals. The ministerial declaration underlined the importance of multi-sectoral and integrated, people-centered and results-oriented approaches, as well as the strong link that exists between the health-related MDGs and poverty eradication in general. This opens new opportunities for collaborative actions, partnerships, and the engagement of new and diverse stakeholders by promoting consensus on a variety of issues, ranging from non-communicable and communicable diseases, neglected tropical diseases, health systems, and health literacy, and setting concrete measures, including financing mechanisms, to advance the realization of global public health goals. The national voluntary presentations by Bolivia, China, Jamaica, Japan, Mali, Sri Lanka, and Sudan demonstrated the value of ECOSOC, serving as a platform to engage the global community in exchanging critical lessons learned in the implementation of the Millennium Development Goals. It also offered valuable support to the national efforts being undertaken. The growing interest in this unique platform of the Council is reflected by the fact that 14 countries have already volunteered for this year's session. Ladies and gentlemen, the strengthening of humanitarian coordination, the roles of the United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator, the Resident Coordinator, and the Humanitarian Coordinator in this context, the implementation of the guidance on the United Nations operational activities, the necessary deepening of the system-wide coherence process, including on governance and funding of United Nations operational activities, were other important issues reviewed by the Council during the last months. The Council did not lose sight either of the global dynamics of development cooperation. The Development Cooperation Forum is increasingly recognized as the central forum within the United Nations system for holistic consideration of development cooperation issues. In this context, I would like to mention the high-level symposium on accountable and transparent development cooperation towards a more inclusive framework held on the 12th and 13th of November in Vienna. This symposium laid the foundation for the global dialogue on this important issue for the Development Cooperation Forum to be held in June this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased that the efforts to strengthen the interaction and the institutional links between the Council and the Peace-Building Commission are starting to bear fruit. The chairman of the Organizational Committee of the PBC thus participated in several panels of the Council, including during its substantive session. And on 29th October, the Council and the Commission held its first joint event in partnership with the World Food Programme to consider the impact of the food and economic crises in post-conflict countries. I strongly hope that this relationship will be further strengthened in the years ahead, as the Council undoubtedly has a role to play in peace-building and post-conflict development. Perhaps the institutional links and the cooperation between both bodies could also be considered in the context of the review of the Peace-Building Commission, which is to be conducted this year, taking into account the call by the Council during its substantive session for enhanced engagement with the PBC, including with its country-specific formations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during 2009, the Council has strived to effectively fulfill its role as an intergovernmental multi-stakeholder mechanism for addressing emerging challenges and advancing the implementation of the development agenda. Important challenges undoubtedly remain. I call on the Council to continuously strengthen its mechanisms, to use its full potential to mobilize action, to establish synergies, and to generate momentum for the realization of the development agenda and the Millennium Development Goals, as well as the great vision that they embody. I thank you for your attention.